Breaking news this afternoon, there are new details on Governor Bevin's order cutting higher education, while the state attorney general says the governor needs to rescind the order.
UK freshman Jamal Murray is headed to the NBA. We have more on his decision to go pro.
Family of a Richmond police officer killed in the line of duty are fed up. Why they're talking to us about a delay in Officer Ellis's case.
WKYT News starts now with breaking news.
Governor Bevin's order cutting 4.5% from higher education budgets could end up in court.
About an hour ago, Attorney General Andy Beshear announced the order is outside the governor's authority. WKYT's Victor Puente is live in Frankfurt with the breaking details on the budget battle. Victor?
Earlier today, Speaker of the House Greg Stumbo told reporters he wasn't sure if the cuts made by Governor Bevin were legal. Now the Attorney General says they aren't. Yesterday, Governor Bevin announced a 4.5% cut to funding for state universities and colleges for the rest of this fiscal year. He said the money was needed to help pay off some of the billions in debt owed by the state's pension system. This morning, Greg Stumbo said the only way Bevin could make those cuts was if there was a shortfall in revenue. About an hour ago, Attorney General Andy Beshear agreed with Stumbo, saying the last budget bill that was passed and signed into law must be followed. He said they're giving the governor 7 days to rescind those cuts before they pursue litigation, but they hope it doesn't come to that. Earlier today, the governor said he was confident the move was legal.
There is no basis for a lawsuit, so people could do whatever they want, but it would be a waste of their time, energy, and money, and they would lose.
You know, the legislature in setting this up didn't say any governor could do anything at any time with regards to the budget or what to do when there aren't enough funds. Now, there are enough funds under at least the statutory framework. What we're trying to do is enforce the steps that must be taken under those laws.
Beshear said they would be delivering a written opinion to the governor's general counsel. They hope to hear back by next Friday. Live in Frankfurt, Victor Puente, WKYT.
Victor, thank you. All of this comes about as the fight over a budget continues. If a budget isn't passed by the 15th, there will have to be a special session called. He has made it official today. UK freshman Jamal Murray said he is entering the NBA draft.
He made that announcement during a news conference at UK this afternoon. WKYT's Rob Bromley's here with more. And Rob, the fans are going to miss that sweet jump shot.
Well, I'll tell you, Jamal Murray was a lot of fun for the fans to watch in his one season at Kentucky. He scored 720 points, setting the single-season freshman scoring record. Today, Murray announced he is going into the draft. His dad, Roger, was right there at his side. In a release, John Calipari said the improvement Murray showed over the course of the season may be unmatched by any player he's coached. He said Jamal grew into a true winner.
You know, it means a lot, not just for me, but for my whole family, for my my friends and teammates that have come with me along the way, helped me in many different ways. And my dad's been here the whole time. He's put me in this position. He's helped me get to the spot, and he's taught me everything I know. So, thankful to have him in my life and have him be my best friend, my mentor, and my biggest critic, my biggest fan.
And Murray has not yet hired an agent, but he said that he and his dad would make a decision in the next couple of weeks. And as for the bow and arrow, he said he'll keep that going at the next level.
Well done, Rob. Very well done. Murray was named first team All-SEC, and he was named to 4 All-America teams.
The family of a murdered police officer says the wait for justice is just too long. Raleigh Sizemore is accused of killing Richmond police officer Daniel Ellis in November. A hearing for Sizemore was postponed today, and Ellis's family says the delay is frustrating. WKYT's Kristen Kennedy talked to them about the case in a story that's new at 5.
Raleigh Sizemore was supposed to be in court for a pretrial hearing today, but it got pushed back again, and the victim's family isn't happy. The brother of Officer Daniel Ellis talked to us about his family's frustration with court proceedings. Raleigh Sizemore is charged with Officer Ellis's murder. He's accused of leading the officer into an ambush inside a home last November and shooting and killing him. 5 months have passed since Officer Ellis's death and Raleigh Sizemore's arrest. Eric Ellis thinks that's more than enough time to prepare for trial.
It's very tough on our family. I mean, we find out there's a court date. You know, we're kind of preparing mentally for it because we've already been through one in this, original status hearing. But you prepare for it in your mind, and then all of a sudden, like a day before, they tell you it's not going to happen.
Sizemore is scheduled to be in court April 14th. In Richmond, Kristen Kennedy, WKYT.
Sizemore was out on parole at the time of that shooting.
A judge heard arguments over evidence in a high-profile bourbon theft case. Lawyers for two people accused of being the ringleaders in the theft of rare Pappy Van Winkle headed to court today to move the case forward. WKYT's Caitlin Sentner has an update.
After a dead period in the Pappygate case, the attorney for alleged ringleaders Gilbert and Julie Kurtzinger was in a Franklin County courtroom Friday morning. It was an anonymous tipster that led to the discovery of the alleged stolen bourbon barrels and to what's referred to as Pappygate. It was an exhaustive investigation that resulted in 9 indicted and $100,000 worth of bourbon uncovered. Steroids were another facet. Gilbert and Julie Kurtzinger are believed to be the ringleaders. Gilbert was a longtime employee of Buffalo Trace. Earlier this week, attorney Whitney Lawson filed 2 motions. One to suppress and another to obtain all Franklin Sheriff's documents regarding a separate investigation in a 2013 Buffalo Trace theft. The State Journal reports the motion to suppress aims to suppress all evidence obtained through 2 search warrants that led sheriff detectives to 5 barrels of allegedly stolen wild turkey on the Kurtzingers' property. It goes on to say Lawson's motion argues there wasn't enough probable cause for the initial search warrant.
I'm not going to go into specifics, but pretty much what we're saying is that we need to look into the search warrant and see that it passes the smell test, quite frankly. So we're asking the judge to look at it based on various arguments, which we'll address at the hearing.
It's unclear when this case will be back in the courtroom. Attorneys will be responding to motions filed. Live in Franklin County, Caitlin Sentner, WKYT.
The Kurtzingers were not in court today. Their attorney says they will be when it comes time for another hearing. The beginning of April is bringing us cooler weather.
That it is. Temperatures could drop low enough for us to see an overnight freeze this weekend. WKYT Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey's here now with an early check of the forecast. And Chris, that's hard to think about when you see what it's like out there today.
Yeah, very nice today, guys. Temperatures in the 60s, mix of sun and some cool clouds that are showing up yet again out there this afternoon. But as we get deeper into that weekend, those temperatures trend down, and that's a trend that'll carry us into next week. A little look outside in Lexington. Clouds have been filtering on into town over the past couple of hours. We've noticed more in the way of some clouds than sun compared to early today when we had a deep blue sky. 64 degrees. Winds are gusting a little bit, but colder air is lurking to our north. Already 60 into Covington. Notice the greens that are showing up on the north side of the Bluegrass State. We are seeing temperatures in the 40s and 50s just across the Ohio River. Defender radar network, no precipitation across the region. There's a chance for a little sprinkle on the Kentucky-Virginia border counties. Most of that, though, just in the form of some clouds. Looking to our northwest, we go from the mild air in Kentucky to the chilly air that is behind this next front that doesn't have a whole lot of juice with it. That'll weaken out by the time it gets in here. Then there's cold air that is coming out of Canada right now into parts of the Dakotas. That front that you see across the Bismarck area right now, by tomorrow evening at this time, is crossing the Ohio River into Kentucky. It's a very active weather pattern, and a green thumb alert is out for the entire region. What do we mean by that, guys? We're simply giving you a heads up for the potential for frost and freezing conditions as early as Sunday morning. We've talked about the first week of April for a while. Here we are in 20s. Highlight or low light the forecast when I come back.
The National Weather Service says that straight-line winds caused damage to Breckenridge County yesterday. The winds blew off part of the Breckenridge Middle School roof. There were students inside at the time, but luckily no one was hurt. The storms also damaged a mobile home park near the school. First responders say 2 people were injured there.
Officers arrested a man they say shot at his wife. Our county-by-county coverage begins in Russell County. State police say that Cora Chapman called 911 saying she and her husband had been arguing, and when she tried to leave the house, he shot at her. Officers say she got away but left their 3 children inside the home. When officers arrived, they heard gunshots. They say they found Virgil Chapman in the woods nearby. Police report the children were not hurt. In Bell County, deputies say a suspected burglar made a mistake that led to his arrest. The sheriff's office says that William Brock and a juvenile broke into Odie's Fitness Center. We're told they tried to move the security camera, but ended up catching themselves on video trying to break into the office. And when they couldn't get inside, they worked out instead. Brock is charged with burglary, criminal mischief, and theft. Here's a look at some of the most viewed stories on our website right now. People want to know the name of a person killed in Woodford County. A young girl hit and killed while walking home from school. And the cancellation of the Spoon Bread Festival in Berea. You can find these stories and more on WKYT.com. The Greyhound bus station in Richmond, Virginia reopened this afternoon after a gunman shot and killed a state trooper yesterday. Police say they're not sure what prompted James Brown to open fire, but that Brown had a lengthy criminal record in Illinois. Brown also shot 2 women at the bus station before being fatally shot by police. The 2 women are expected to recover.
Today in Washington, President Obama met with other world leaders in the second day of the Nuclear Security Summit. There's about 2,000 tons of nuclear material around the world. The president stressed the importance of protecting it from terrorists.
There is no doubt that if these madmen ever got their hands on a nuclear bomb or nuclear material, they most certainly would use it to kill as many innocent people as possible.
The president also announced that the U.S. has released a public record of its stock of highly enriched uranium, which can be used to make nuclear weapons. We are just 4 days away from the primary in Wisconsin, where early voter turnout is up by more than 400% since 2012.
As Weijia Jiang shows us, the Republican candidates are trying to knock off a vulnerable Donald Trump, while tension between Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders grows.
Polls show Bernie Sanders has an edge over Democratic frontrunner Hillary Clinton in Tuesday's Wisconsin primary after winning the last 3 states. On CBS this morning, Sanders accused Clinton of accepting money from the fossil fuel industry.
If people receive money from lobbyists of the industry, I think you're receiving money from the industry.
Clinton snapped at a protester who made a similar claim at a rally on Thursday. Today in New York, she changed the subject, announcing a $10 billion plan to revitalize the manufacturing industry.
And the best way to do that is to create more good jobs with rising incomes. That is my goal.
The GOP candidates trailing Donald Trump are hoping his latest controversies over abortion and his campaign manager will slow the frontrunner's momentum. Trump is trailing Ted Cruz by 10 points in Wisconsin. While campaigning in Pennsylvania today, John Kasich predicted the GOP nominee won't be decided until the Republican National Convention.
Everybody tried to figure out my math. Senator Cruz needs 90% remaining delegates. That's not going to happen. Trump needs about 60%. That's not going to happen.
Wisconsin has 42 delegates up for grabs. The magic number is 1,237 to win the Republican nomination. Weijia Jiang, CBS News, the White House.
So far, Trump has won 48% of all delegates awarded. Earlier this week, he said he would no longer honor a pledge to support the nominee, which he previously had agreed to.
It is time now for better living, health, education, and consumer news that impacts your life. Local, state, and federal health authorities are meeting today to discuss the Zika virus. So far, the mosquito-borne disease hasn't been widespread in the U.S., but with summer coming, officials want to be prepared. Omar Villafranca takes us to the Zika Action Plan Summit.
And they want to make sure that too.
More than 300 federal, state, and local health officials gathered at the CDC to get ready for the possibility of Zika virus outbreaks in the U.S.
Working through action plans for every jurisdiction that is affected. That means making sure that they're prepared to monitor and respond.
CDC Director Dr. Tom Frieden says the response is critical to protect pregnant women and their babies. The virus is linked to a rare birth defect called microcephaly, which causes newborns to be born with abnormally small heads. But federal officials say they can't fight Zika if Congress doesn't approve the $1.9 billion aid package that the president requested.
The money we have now is not enough. Congress needs to act and do its job.
So far, a Zika-infected mosquito hasn't passed the virus on to any person in the continental U.S. There have been 312 travel-related cases. Of them, 6 were sexually transmitted. 27 were in pregnant women, and 1 person developed a rare neurological disorder. Texas is considered a high-risk state. Dallas County Health Department Director Zachary Thompson says his workers are going door to door to get the word out.
These mosquitoes are centered around our homes, and so each individual resident has to take a responsibility to make sure they remove standing water.
Omar Veer.
The slicer at your favorite deli might not be as clean as you think. The Centers for Disease Control looked at 3,000 delis across the U.S. and found nearly half fail to clean their slicing equipment every 4 hours, which is recommended. Leaving the machines unsterilized for longer than that can raise the odds for potentially deadly listeria. The CDC found chains and busier delis were more likely to clean than those who were independent or had slower business. When it comes to specialty grocery stores, is it less expensive to shop at Whole Foods or Trader Joe's? A bank analyst compared prices and found Trader Joe's was 21% cheaper. Of the 77 items tested, Trader Joe's had the lowest price of 70 of them. Whole Foods had a lower price on the other 7. Now,